Hey, we're live. It's Jaime Vendera. I think this hangout is live. Yes, it's Jaime Vendera. Welcome to another Singer Spotlight. As usual, I'm always crazy. That's when I get tired. No, I'm really wired. And I'm not all jacked up on Mountain Dew because I'm here with my good buddy, Luke Kent, who's a fellow vocal coach from down under in Australia. So, Luke, I've known you for a while, but some of these singers might not know you. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, as Jamie said, my name's Luke. I'm from Australia. I'm also a coach, a student of Jamie's, massive fan of Jamie's. Basically, I've been doing music most of my life in some context or another. 2009, I moved to a different part of Australia to study vocals specifically, and started on this journey of ending up becoming a vocal coach and a singer, and yeah, so that's the short version.
How old are you?
33.
33. And how long have you been singing? And I mean, really, kind of what got you into singing to begin with, you know?
Well, I've always sung. Like, ever since I was a kid, I was joining choirs and I'd love it, but I never really had confidence to pursue it as a solo singer. I'd be more in the groups. And so I actually took up instruments where you could, like I took up saxophone, for example, and it was kind of easier because you have an instrument right in front of you and you can sort of hide behind it, right? And so I never had the confidence to be a solo singer until much later in life, which is now, basically. So,
Well, good.
yeah.
Well, along that way, because this is a little different interview, because you're not just a singer, you're a vocal coach. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So how did you, I mean, because we've talked about this, you've seen how my process was and how long it's taken me.
Yeah.
How did you decide to make that transition? I mean, what led you there? And what techniques are you using? Are you using what you learned from college or from me, from another vocal coach? What
Yeah.
kind of molds you and how you're doing it and why you're doing it? The what's? I want to know everything about that.
Okay, so what happened was before I started studying vocals, I was teaching guitar and drums and a few other instruments. I was sort of doing that in a few high schools, and but I wouldn't really do much in the way of vocals because I wasn't really confident with that. Anyway, so I moved to Sydney and I studied at a college here, and I was studying at this college, but I wasn't really getting the answers I felt I wanted. So I started Googling, searching. I came across Brett Manning's speech level singing. I studied that for a little bit, and I thought, okay, this is helping me with tension and just not to push those upper notes, but it's not really exactly what I want. So I kept looking around. I came across your book, Raise Your Voice, and I started reading that, and I thought, okay, this has got a lot in it, though. And anyway, so I ended up keep on referring back to that, and I actually found that it was giving me more answers, and I actually wanted to know things about the voice. I just didn't want to sing. You know, some people just want to go, okay, just tell me how to sing, and I'll sing. Well, I actually wanted to understand a bit of the process and a bit of what goes on, because for me, it's sort of I need to know things. I can't just, okay, copy this and do this, because I was doing that with my previous coaches. They were telling me, okay, do this exercise, and I'd copy it, and I'd find my voice gone in 15 minutes time because
Wow.
I'd be yelling out the exercise. Not when I'm in the lesson, though, mind you, but when I was practicing at home, because I
Hmm.
just didn't get what I was supposed to be achieving. And so anyway, because of that struggle, I realized, you know, like, hey, I love teaching. Why don't I consider teaching some other singers and help them learn from what mistakes I've made and the struggles I've had? So I found now I can really effectively help other singers because I can hear where I was in them. You know, so they're sort of in this place of like yelling out the high notes, and I can say, no, 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 what you're doing is this. What you need to be doing is this, and go for this feeling and this sensation, and then you'll get up there easier. And I just see some of the singers look back at me and they go, that makes sense. Just like I never thought about it that way, and then they do it and they go, oh, it's so easy now.
And
You
it's a
know,
lovely feeling. I love it when
yeah,
they have that
yeah,
aha moment and they're like, wow, I've been trying this for 15 years and they couldn't get it. So
yeah.
bam. So so you're and trust me, you know me. I don't care if you use my stuff in your teaching, but what is like coaching for you? What is your approach? Like what do you use for warm ups? Even for you, what do you use for warm-ups? What do you teach your students for warm-ups? What do you use for working out? What do you teach your students for working out,
Yeah.
practice, and stuff like that?
Okay, so for warm-ups, a lot of lip bubbles, humming, um, and sort of getting exercises up into the head resonance. That's a big thing, I think, especially for singers who are naturally have big voices like myself. I find for my warm-up, I have to spend a lot of time sort of letting it float up into the head resonance because naturally I speak, quite deep. And I find that if I don't do that, everything up there sort of doesn't respond as well straight up. And, it's easy to sort of strain up in the high notes unless I thoroughly warm up that sort of resonance. So that's warm-ups. Mostly the lip bubbles and the hummings. But most of what I teach is actually from you. But
Well,
I do
I'm
actually,
honored.
yeah, I do actually credit you. In fact, all of my students know about you. They know your name. They know what you do. So it's none of it I claim to
No, and
credit.
you know what? It's nothing new under the sun. I learned from Jim and from Elizabeth and from Thomas, and I just made
Yeah,
it my own. And I've had discussions with you, so I know you're making it your own. And it's just like you said, coaching. It's a lifelong thing. I've been doing this since '96. How long have you been teaching now?
uh, in this context for 3 years,
Okay, but
something like
before that, you was teaching voice before the raise your voice stuff as well, though, correct?
that. A little bit. I was teaching in another state, but I was sort of teaching based on a still
Okay,
method. But a misunderstanding of it I've discovered.
gotcha,
I wasn't
gotcha,
getting
gotcha.
it,
But
so
but still, you can see 3 years. It's almost like you're in a self-taught college because you learn from teaching other singers. I mean, you have
yeah,
to spend a lot of time. And the one thing that I don't say anything because I support so many coaches. I support you. We love to hear when you're posting. I love it when you're working with high school kids or working in colleges and all that great stuff. There's only so many coaches. There's millions of singers, so there's enough singers to go around. But what does drive me nuts is when you and I mean I'm not pointing anybody out. That's not what I'm saying. But with the resurgence of YouTube and everything, everybody's an expert. You could
yeah.
have somebody that's never sang a note in their life, then they read my book, watched 50 videos on YouTube, and then they're a master vocal coach. And I'm not even a master vocal coach. I do not
Yeah.
feel that way. And I've been teaching for almost 20 years. I don't think I'll ever be a master vocal coach because, Luke, that's why I write so many books, because
Yeah.
it's a constant thing. And I know you're working on some stuff yourself. I don't know if it's a book or just a warm-up, but there is a process to it and finding your
Yeah.
own way. So, and as you've been teaching, even though you're using a lot of my stuff, have you found as a coach, you're like, wait a minute, love what Jamie's doing, but I need to kind of modify it and do it this way, and that's what I feel comfortable with. Have you started
Oh, yeah.
learning stuff like that? Because that's
Oh,
a sign of a good teacher. Good sign of a
yeah,
good teacher.
absolutely. I don't just parrot what you teach. I basically take it and I express it in my individual way. But pretty much everything that's come from you has been brilliant. But
Well,
I
I
just sort of
appreciate it.
modify it into the way I look at it, and my students are clearly benefiting from it. Like I get emails from like a Skype student saying, "Oh, I can hit the E5 now. I never could hit it. Now I can actually hit it." And I said, "Well, see,
That's
when you
great.
go for that note and you don't strain it, you don't push it up there, you don't squeeze it up there, you'll get it, and the muscles will develop." And they finally click and go, "Yeah, okay, I don't need to squeeze it and push it up there. You need to
Absolutely.
trust. You need to kind of trust the voice to go up there." And it's interesting you're talking about the coaches and that sort of thing, because I didn't actually start singing to become a coach. I didn't go, "Oh, I'm going to train to be a singer so I can teach." That wasn't my thing. I just wanted to learn how to sing and develop better. But somebody actually said to me, "Oh, you should teach." And I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't think I'd be a good vocal coach. I'm not a very good singer." So I was very shy with the idea for a while until I decided, you know what, I think I actually have something to offer. So I think I should give this a go. And it turns out from the students, I mean, you can check out testimonials, that I'm good at what I do. It's because I care about it. I'm really passionate about it. I identify with you a lot because you're very passionate and very into your craft. So I'm very much the
Well,
same way.
and I mean, I don't have time. I mentioned this before, not to sing, but there's YouTube videos up, but we're recording songs, and this is in no way egotistical. It's just a fact from studying technique. I know I can sing, but with that said, I don't think you have to be a freakishly amazing singer to be an amazing vocal coach, because it's just like if you were a football coach. Your butt's not out on that field running the sprints, but you understand the game. And I think a lot, so some people, I know some phenomenal vocal coaches, you never hear them sing a note, and I don't care because they have really good training. So I think it's almost, you can do both, but it's almost two different animals, you know. And
Oh,
bottom and it boils down to you got to sing, you know. And I don't have the time to sing 24 hours a day because I'm
yeah.
always vocalizing. I'm filming a video, and when I have to sing, like when I filmed the Beyond the Stage Presence video, of course we wrote a dozen songs and I sang them. I went to the concert, we filmed it for the video, so I have the capability to do that. So yeah, I mean it's cool. But even as a teacher, Luke, do you feel that even with my raise your voice techniques and what you're coming up with your own, is it making you a better singer yourself as you teach other singers?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, they really like what I really got from the book was basically demystifying range building, because other teachers I've worked with in the past have sort of said, well, you've sort of got what you got, and you know you've heard that a million times from different teachers, and sort of like, oh, you can sort of build it, but it's kind of a more of a falsetto thing you have to build, and it's
That's what I
kind
heard.
of a thing, and you have to keep within your range, and just going back to what you said about coaches there and singing, is I've actually had some students come to me, and they've come from coaches who are actually really good singers, who like they might have done. I think one of them done some work for The Voice. You know, the show The Voice. You probably heard
Mhm.
of it over in Australia, anyway. So one of them was like doing some sound engineering work or something. So they're fairly big in the industry. And this singer came to me and she said, "Yeah, well, the lady sang really good, but as a teacher, she wasn't really like I didn't really learn anything. She just got me to okay, sing this song, do this exercise." And she goes, "I didn't." And I said, "Well, do you know how your voice works? Do you understand a little bit of what's going on, how to breathe?" No, she just said breathe and sing. You know what I mean? Like some people are really good at doing it themselves, but not necessarily good at guiding other people and helping other people learn effectively.
Man,
And
I'm
that's
telling you. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. No, sorry, I'm done.
What I was going to say is you're absolutely so right. I know Tony Hornell, who wrote the Ford, an amazing singer, but he is also an amazing vocal coach. I've actually watched him teach. Now, on the flip side of the coin, and I shall not name who this rock star is, but anyone who's in a rock, who's known like really top rock bands since the 80s, because this band came out in the 80s, I have heard a lesson of a rock singer, a rock star teaching, and has no business teaching. And actually, his student actually came from Philadelphia down to study with me, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." Because I've had lessons with so and so, because I'm such a big fan of his, haven't learned a dang thing. You have, and one day you've completely changed my approach to voice. So yeah,
Yeah.
some singers they're amazing, but they just don't have the skills to translate it. Luckily for me, I had Jim Gillette, who to me was a phenomenal singer, and he just kept me focused. That's why I don't have a lot of terms and a lot of exercises, because Jim said, "Here's my scales. Shut up and do them. You know, tighten your stomach." Bam, and that was it. You know, he didn't make up. He didn't talk about my cricothyroid or anything. Not saying that's bad. That's just not the type of coach that I am. I just like straightforward, simple, and to the point.
But he seems like I was what I've got the gym videos obviously, and I bought his program and checked it out. And but even though he's not into terms, he seems very specific in how things should be done. So he's fairly
Absolutely,
structured. So he's not just
absolutely.
really like just do whatever you want and it'll come good. He's not
No,
like
he
that.
talks about if it hurts under the chin. Jim and I actually wrote a book, but we just haven't released it yet. It's the official guide to Jim Gillette's vocal power, but it's kind of sitting on a shelf because I write so many books, and we kind of got into the nitty gritty of it. But he is very systematic, and that's a for me, at least the way I was trained, that's a good solid coach. I know that's how you approach it. You don't get a 500-page dictionary on 42,000 vocal terms. You just get right to the point.
Yeah.
So I know we've been jabbering on, but I want to know, and you might have mentioned this because I've been doing interviews all day, so I'm fried. But
Yeah.
how and when how exactly did you find me? Because I'm always curious of the story about was it just the Amazon thing? Was it after Brett's program? I mean, how did you finally find the Raise Your Voice and Jamie Vendera?
To be honest, I can't exactly remember, but I do remember it was towards the end of my first year training here in college. Um, I'd been working with teachers, and I remember one of them was sort of saying to me, one of my first ones was I was asking questions. I was like, oh, but how am I meant to do this? How am I mean, I'm always asking questions. I'm one of those sort of people. And she said, oh, stop asking questions, just sing. And so I sort of thought, well, okay, if I'm not able to ask questions here, then I'm going to have to ask questions somewhere else. So I started Googling for books, and yeah, and I think I just literally Googled my way to find you and to find your book, and I saw the reviews, and I thought, oh, this one looks a bit different, and I got it, and it took me actually a while to read it because I was expecting something a bit more technical and a bit more, because the other books I've had, they're a lot more technical.
Hmm.
Um, but when I eventually did start reading and start applying, I was like, well, actually, it's a lot better than these other books that I've read, and a lot more practical and to the point.
I wanted to make it technical for a kindergartner, and I'm not disrespecting anyone. I'm thinking of myself like a kindergartner. I wanted to think when I was young, when I was 5 or 6 or whatever it was, I was listening to Elvis. Even though I know Raise Your Voice is above that level, I didn't want to break down and say, okay, with adduction, tilting the cracothyroid, epiglottic sphincter, all that. I've studied all that.
Yeah,
It's never done any of my students any good, as teaching them to gain higher notes. So I thought, how can I give so much anatomy and make it simple? So hopefully we've done it. So you started training, you got the book, you were still in college.
yeah. I was
Uh,
I was actually doing a bit of SLS stuff still. I was sort of mixing a few things together and thinking, oh, kind of, I've been doing this, but then I just decided, no, you know what? I'm actually getting better results from doing this stuff, so I'm sort of going to go towards that. And because with SLS, I was starting, because I'm naturally a baritone, right? So um, I was struggling with sort of an E4, F4 with SLS. I'd hit it, but it wouldn't be my best notes, right? And it wouldn't be my most comfortable area to sing in, but I could get it okay. Um, but now E4 and F4 are like, they're my notes when I'm not even warmed up, they're fine.
that's good to
Um,
hear. And nothing wrong with SLS. The kind of the mixed voice. It's cool. You hear a lot of singers doing it, but just
yeah,
with my background coming from full voice, balls to the wall, without hurting your voice, without belting, without shouting, I knew with my coaches it had to be just this full-on full voice. But again, we do cover falsetto and mix. So
yeah. So I'm definitely not bagging SLS at all. Like, I've
no,
definitely learned things from it, and it's a great program. I'm not, I don't want anybody to sort of see that I'm anti SLS. Not at all.
no, I
Um,
love Brent, and Roger Love's one of my favorite coaches.
oh yeah, Roger's great, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's awesome.
yeah, yeah. No.
So what are you doing to keep your voice healthy? I see your little post like, I'm going to jog. I'm not going to jog. I want to
Yeah.
jog. So what are you doing now? 'Cause
Well, at the moment, basically working out each day. I've got a bike over there. You can't see it, but it's a
it's a
stationary.
stationary. Okay.
Yeah, with a roller. It's like a mountain bike, but I'll put a roller under it. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
using
cool.
that. I bought a kettlebell.
Oh,
Basically, been
cool.
using that for like full body sort of workouts. So getting into that. Yeah, my wife's buying these really cool fruit and veggies, like all from local farmers, and so we're
I've
sort of
seen
just
that.
trying to eat a lot healthier. Yeah,
That's good.
so yeah,
Toss the microwave.
and of course, and of course,
All right, throat saver. Who
yeah,
we had an interview with I think it was Frode earlier. He's like, I should have showed my throat saver. So, what do you think about throat saver?
oh, it's great. I love the products.
Oh, such a
Yeah,
bite, such an opener. I don't
yeah,
leave home without it.
yeah. I mean, I've almost emptied mine already, and I
Yeah,
haven't
I
had
love,
that long.
but I got to give props. I still love Vocalese. I still keep it on me. To me, Vocalese is sweeter. It's not got the bite the throat saver has. It's more like vitamins for the voice.
Yeah,
So I can take it every day. Throat saver I can still take every day, but it's mainly it really opens me up if I'm kind of dry or if my sinuses feel a little stuffy.
I
So
find sorry if I can just
no, go
say
ahead.
something. I find with the throat saver, I actually get better response out of my voice. I find it basically it's just there, clearer, straight away. I don't
That's
know.
good.
I don't know why. Yeah, I just find it's more responsive. So
Good. Yeah. Yeah. You just have to order a case of it next time.
yeah, I reckon.
So, of course, you told me how you found me. What I want to know. So you were still in college, and you said you was doing this, and then you focused more on mine because you got better results,
Yeah.
and that was 3 years ago. What are
So
your results?
towards the end of college, I started focusing more on your stuff.
And what? How has it changed your voice?
Oh, I've got at least another octave to my range that I didn't have back then. I mean, I'm singing Sting songs now that I wouldn't dream of singing then.
Wow.
Stevie Wonder, so. I'm working on these Stevie Wonder songs in the original key. I used to have to put everything down like a fifth or a sixth or something like that. So now I'm going through all these songs in original keys. I was just working on Clarity, Eric Emery's cover
Hmm.
of Clarity.
Oh, so you know who Eric Emery is? I actually,
Yeah. I saw your interview with him, and I've become a fan since. So,
yeah, I called Eric. He's out in California with Sahaj finishing up the second Concordia
oh, Sahab's
record. Of
another
course,
great.
he's yeah, and then he's doing the thing with Madel Cohen, the female drummer, and actually called him because I was winding stuff for the Academy. I'm having, of course, I'm working on the compression, but my voice is so loud. I got to watch how I set the compressor. It really pumps. But he's a great engineer, so Eric figured it out for me. So yeah, so you're trying some stuff by Eric Emery, which is
Yeah.
a
So I'm able to
beast.
mostly sing that sort of stuff now. Yeah. So
Dude, he got that what? He just got
yeah,
that just that
right up there.
man, just oh my God, he's just such an
He just
amazing.
makes it sound so easy, doesn't he?
Yes, yes he does. Yes he does. So
No.
really good student too. So he calls me when he's getting ready to go out on tour, so we can kind of give him a tune up. But amazing singer. So you gain range. Anything else? Like, does it change your tone?
Yeah, tonal quality, and it's just the ease. Because when I was using other techniques, I found I could hit some of these notes, but they didn't feel easy. They felt like I had to work for them a little bit. You know what I mean? It's sort of, and now when I hit the upper notes, it's sort of like they're floating. Where before they were kind of, I was trying to push them up there.
That is
You know?
good.
Yeah.
That,
So it's a
that
big
is
difference.
good. I have many students that say it sounds like they're helium. The voice is
Yeah.
floating on helium.
Yeah.
So, and how have you noticed it with your students? So you've told me you're applying the raise your voice techniques to students, mixing with your
Yep.
own.
Yep.
How's it doing?
Yeah, great. As I said, I get emails from students. Like one sent me an email saying, "Oh, I can finally hit the E5," and I said, "Yeah, well, it's because you're applying these things properly and you're not straining up there." And I find a couple of things I borrowed from Jim Gillette is using the really buzzy sound. I find that's
Absolutely.
really effective, especially up in the higher notes.
Yeah.
Because the first thing that happens, right, is the students when they go up there, they kind of lose that adduction and they kind of get a little breathy on the upper notes and it's kind of a weakness up there. So that
Well,
adduction sort of build the muscle.
that's why he pushes. And when I teach, which I'm endorsed by Jim to teach his skills. And there's a couple different ways we do it in the academy. But the isolation exercises aren't real buzzy like his, but he does have that Z-A-Y-A, that kind of ducky, buzzy
Yeah.
sound, and it was purposeful. It definitely was, because it does make a singer get out of the throat and like throw it, and just this
Yeah.
overabundance of nasty resonance you wouldn't use to sing with, but it's doing
No,
such amazing things with your voice.
it just really helps with the closure. And that's what I find. Like it really gets the
Absolutely.
chord close in the upper register where some students would sort of get breathy and weak. So I find it really helps with that.
So if and you could do this from your perspective as a coach, but if someone's coming to you, well, they don't even have time to come to the lesson. They run into you somewhere. They got 3 minutes, and they say, "Hey, Kent, I know you're coach. I really want to sing like you. I want to sing better. What advice can you give me? What is something you could give them, like on the spot, to help to get them on their path?"
Oh gosh, it's that's such an interesting question because everybody's different, as you know, and people have different issues, with their voice. But the big thing I'd say is make sure that you're breathing low always, because that's one of the first things that most singers forget about or neglect. Even students all the time, I'm having to say, okay, were you breathing properly? No.
Yeah, and as a
Okay.
breathing low, you mean like so your chest isn't raising, correct?
Yeah. I actually got a really cool little trick for it, actually, that I give students, is I get them to
Well,
put
share it.
one finger up against their mouth. So if you
Okay.
put one finger up here, okay, open your mouth up, and then you
Uh-huh.
breathe in. And automatically, you get that low breath because you're getting resistance. Your finger's giving like a level of resistance.
Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah, so that's kind of a trick to get you to breathe low. I actually learned it because I used to study trombone, and one of my trombone teachers actually gave me that as a breathing exercise. So I thought, well, that could be used for singers too. So
Well, the weird thing
I
is,
give
as soon as I did that, I actually felt more of the lower rib expansion too, and usually because
yeah,
I'm always focused on the belly pops out, but boom, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Wish I'd have
that's
thought
a
of
tiny bit of
it.
resistance. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite little breathing tricks. So there's that. And the other thing too is I'd say as you go higher, don't sort of lock your voice down in your chest. That's where a lot of singers fail. Let your voice kind of float up into the head resonance.
Yeah,
So
don't
that's
hang on.
my,
I think,
my quick 30-second. So the weight, you sort of, like the triangle you teach, sort of let the weight drop off as you go up higher. And the thing is, a lot of them go, well, I'll lose the power up there. It's like, no, you won't. It's not about the
absolutely.
power up there. It's about the function to get the power up there. So that's what I tell them.
Absolutely. Yeah, but we both know a lot of singers, they want to go, "Ah!" trying to lift
Yeah.
up their voice, and it just causes so much strain.
Oh, yeah.
Luke, I know you're working on some music as we speak, and where, like, can they find you? Can we go to YouTube? Do you have a Facebook page or anything that they can check you out as you release some music? Or if they want to get a hold of you for vocal coaching,
Yeah. Okay, so I have 2 Facebook pages at the moment. I have my Kent Vocal Studio, which is my teaching page. So if you're interested there, you can jump onto that one. I also got my website, kentvocalstudio.com. For my music, I've got Luke Kent Music on Facebook, so facebook.com/Luke Kent Music. I don't have any music up at the moment, but I'm working on a few solo things. I'm sort of trying to get some producing, arranging work because I've done that previously, and I sort of love getting into that side of things as well. And I'm in the process of forming a band with an old bandmate of mine. He lives in another state, so we used to play in a band together, and we're sort of trying to reform the band, but a new idea and a new concept. So we're doing that at the moment. So I'll put that on my Facebook page once it's done.
Good. Where exactly do you live again in Australia? Which city?
Sydney.
Sydney. Man, you just missed knowing who I was. So we was down there at the end of 2010.
I know. I was
Sydney,
like,
Adelaide.
I think I only just got your book. I only really got into the book at the end of 2010. So then I think 2011 or 12, I saw that you'd been there, and I'm like, oh, damn.
Well, my agent's moving up there.
I'll catch you,
We'll be back. We'll definitely be back because we had such a blast. It was really cool. Well, there you have it, singers. There's another singer spotlight with my good friend, vocal coach and singer Luke Kent. So again, you can check him out at facebook.com/Luke Kent. Is it Luke Kent Music?
Yeah, Luke Kent Music.
And also Kent Vocal Studio. So, or KentVocalStudio.com. So definitely give him a check out. He does have my seal of approval. I'm glad that he's taken his time and really worked and didn't, read my book and become a vocal coach overnight. You're working really hard to do it. So that's what it takes, But you still got to start somewhere. You got to start. There's a day you got to become a vocal coach. You've done it. You put the application into place, and you're developing some amazing singers. You're just another vocal coach that I can say has proven that what I've learned and what I've taught has actually helped other coaches to help other singers. So that's the goal. That's the goal. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And I will see you soon. Peace out, singers. See you in the next Singer Spotlight.